Hey guys, it's HarleyWood. Welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at the Fenix E28R. Now this little guy is 1500 lumens and comes right on the heel of the new Olight Warrior Mini, which is also 1500 lumens. So in a few minutes we're going to take both of these out back and get some nighttime comparison footage. Now the last Fenix I reviewed was the PD36R. I'll post a link in the description below to this review. This thing was an absolute monster, and in that video I mentioned this was the first Fenix I had ever reviewed, and I was I was very impressed by the aesthetics on these, and this E28 is no exception. These things, whoever's doing the design work on them, they're just beautiful. I love kind of these copper accents that they have. The very, very subdued knurling on the barrel. They're just very, very pretty lights. And likely next week I'll be reviewing the E35, which is kind of the big brother to the E28R. So be on the lookout for this one. Most of what we're going to cover tonight is very objective. It's the technical details, the run times, the lumen levels, all of that stuff. I do want to talk about one thing that is subjective though, and is just my personal preference. And I think a lot of it depends on how you came into and grew into this passion of flashlights, right? I prefer a button interface that is a single click to turn it on and then press and hold to cycle through the brightness levels and then press single click again to turn it off. Fenix does it a little bit differently. You have to press and hold to turn the light on and then single clicks cycle through the modes, press and hold to turn off. So it's backwards. Depending on what you're used to. My way may be backwards. So again, just 100% personal preference. And I find that as I grab different lights and use them, I get confused all the time because I'm like, damn it, what is the interface on this one? And so if this is what you prefer, press and hold to turn it on and then single clicks to go through the modes, you will love Fenix. All right, there is your closer up look at it. Just look how pretty these Fenix lights are. I mean, they really are some of the best looking on the market in my opinion. Let's go over the lumen levels. I'm going to put them up on the screen here. Turbo is 1500 lumens, high is 800 lumens, medium is 350 lumens, low is 150 lumens, and what they call their eco or their moonlight mode is 30 lumens. It also has a strobe mode of 1500 lumens. There you can see the associated run times, the distances that the beams throw in each of those settings, as well as the candela levels. So whether the light is on or off, if you just push and hold the barrel button, it goes into its strobe mode. Here is the included 3400 milliamp hour 18650 battery. Now this will run off of other 18650 batteries, but they have a lot of very specific notes on their website about what they recommend and what they don't. For example, there is a battery status indicator here in the center of the barrel button, and they say that that status is only reliable with their batteries. Okay, so there's got to be a calibration between these two, and if you don't use one of their batteries, the readout on that status indicator may not be accurate. I mentioned the run times just a second ago. Those run times are for battery exhaustion. Okay, so it says that it's got, for example, I believe 2 hours of runtime on turbo. It will not stay on turbo for 2 hours, but a cumulative 2 hours of using the flashlight on turbo will exhaust the battery. They have what's called their intelligent downshift, and that's just a fancy way of saying step downs, all right? So when the light reaches certain temperature thresholds, the lumen levels will start to step down just to protect the light, to protect you. People always like when I make the Samsung blow up in your pocket reference, all right? We don't want these to have any issues, so they do have that thermal protection built in. For example, if you have this on turbo for 1 minute, within the next 30 seconds, it will automatically downshift to 900 lumens, okay? Now, if you turn the light off and turn it back on, that counter starts over again, as long as it doesn't reach its thermal threshold, okay? Now, the thermal thresholds is if the light reaches, for example, 140 degrees or 60 degrees Fahrenheit, it will start to step down 5% every 10 seconds until it reaches 350 lumens. And then when that temperature comes back below 140, it'll start to go up 5% every 10 seconds and allow you to then use turbo mode again. This is actually one of the more dynamic variations of step downs that I've seen. I actually kind of like what they have done with this. Again, it's just to protect your hand, your pocket, so that this thing doesn't melt down on you. Okay, I mentioned the battery status indicator there. Here you can see it's solid green. That means the battery is between 85 and 100%. If the green light is flashing, it's between 50 and 85%. If it's a solid red light, it's between 25 and 50%. And if it's flashing red, that means it's below 25%. And last but certainly not least, this is direct USB-C chargeable. I wish all these other manufacturers would get on board with this. USB-C, do it. Even Olight, I've been on them about their magnetic charging. I like the USB-C. With that, this light can charge in as little as 3 hours from being completely depleted. And there is a look at your pocket clip. The clip is not reversible, okay? But it carries bezel down, which is how Jesus intended, all right? Again, I love Olight, don't get me wrong, but one of the biggest things I wish they would change, well, aside from the magnetic charging, is the fact that these should carry bezel down, all right? When this thing, I mean, granted it's silver on that side, so it probably makes no difference, but when a light like this is sitting in your pocket, this is much, much more discreet than this being face up sticking out the top of your pocket. Okay, and now the nighttime comparison footage. We're gonna take it out back and compare it to the brand new Olight Warrior Mini. Both of these are 1500 lumens. The Fenix does have a little bit bigger reflector on it, so we'll see how that pans out. Should be an interesting comparison. Let's go. All right, let's do this. Up first is the Olight. And the barn there is at 61 yards from where we're standing. You can see it's got a nicely defined hot spot on it. Lots of spill on this guy. All right, if you saw my comparison of this versus the M2R Pro, this had a lot more spill, but the M2R Pro had more hot spot to it. Let's move that off to the side and bring in the Fenix. There is the Fenix. Now again, the operation on the Fenix is a little bit different. Each click, so this is Eco, you can't really see it. If I put my hand out there, you can. So that's Eco, low, medium, high, turbo, okay? So that is your turbo mode on the Fenix. Let's bring the Olight back in. Fenix, Olight. So the Olight has a more defined hotspot, and I would say appears maybe a tad bit brighter. To my naked eye, with both of these, I can see the metal targets back there. You can see just a little green spot in the darkness back there. Those are metal targets at 101 yards, all right? Again, there is the Fenix, and there's the Olight. Both of them have really good spills on them. Man, this is close. The Olight just appears to have a little bit bigger hot spot, maybe a little bit brighter appearing. All right, let's talk about cost. So the Olight is about $80 when it's not on sale. The Fenix comes in at about 18, 19% less than that, 65 bucks. Now, if you're a first-time buyer, Fenix actually does 20% off your first purchase. That takes this guy down to $52. That's awesome. That is a fantastic price for this. All right, so the E28R, great price on it, USB-C right on. The only thing I think could have made this 100% is if it had a tail cap interface on it. Man, if it did, this thing would have been sick. Even so, it's a bad light. That intelligent downshifting and a lot of the features that this thing has, pretty cool. So do me a favor, if you like this video, hit like, hit subscribe, and I do a lot of really cool giveaways on this channel. For example, right now I'm giving away a really expensive Crimson Trace scope. I'll post a link in the description below to that giveaway if you want to enter in that. But hit that little bell icon down by the subscribe so you know when I release new videos. Thank you for watching, guys. If you did like this, be sure to be subscribed. Got lots more videos to come, and I'll see you in the next one.